Hey there everybody, it's Nina. Thanks for joining me today for a new video. Recently I have shared some fun interactive cards that are super easy to mail, and they are called box cards. Box cards are one of these really unique pop-up cards that folds completely flat, so you can stick it into a regular A2 sized envelope and you don't need any special postage in order to mail it. So in part of Simon Says Stamp's new Yay You collection, there are some great add-ons that you can use with the basic box card die, and in addition to some of the other add-ons that are part of the basic box card collection. So I'm going to be using the new add-ons today along with some of the older inserts, and I'm going to show you how you can use them together and make some cute box cards. I'm going to start first by stamping out my images that I'm going to use for the box cards. This image right here is from the new Stick Together stamp set, and I'm going to start by stamping this onto some white cardstock from Hammermill with Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. I'm going to stamp the image a couple times to make sure I get a really good impression, and then we're ready to start Copic coloring. I'm using very simple bright colors throughout this project. Started first with coloring in the washi tapes on the left with some pinks and greens. I also used some R12 and R14 for the glue stick, and then BG11 and 13 for the other glue stick. For the larger glue bottle, I picked out a couple of orange markers, and I'll use some blue colors for the label. That final washi tape roll I did color with a bit of yellow for a nice bright pop of color. And then I'm also going to color in that far right glue stick with some purples. This is some BV11 and BV13. For any of the white areas, I do want to make sure I keep them white, but I'll add a bit of shading using some cool gray markers. There are no coordinating dies for this image, so I do plan on fussy cutting this out with my fine tip scissors. Before I do though, I want to cover up the spilled glue that the glue stick on the right has coming out of his bottle, and I used some clear glue for that. For my glue I used Ultra Bond, but you could have used glossy accents. Alright, so now we're going to pull out another stamp set. This is from the GNOME stamp set. This is also part of the Yay You collection, and both the Stick Together and GNOME stamp sets are 3x4 sets. So they're a nice size and they have a great price point. So all these images that I'm stamping here come in the GNOME stamp set, and I'm stamping them also with Intense Black ink onto Hammermill white cardstock. I really like this Hammermill cardstock. It's really smooth and it really blends out really nicely when you're doing shading with these Copic markers. I think this paper is literally the best paper I've ever used for Copic marker coloring, and I've tried many. So I used some B markers for the hat of the gnome. For the mushrooms, I used a few R20 markers, R22, R24, and 27. E40 and E44 made good colors for the stalks of the mushrooms. I also did use that brown marker then throughout some other areas of the image, including the shoes and the cupcake wrapper for the gnome. And fun fact, with both of these stamp sets that I'm using today, Stick Together and the GNOME stamp, I actually designed and illustrated these sets for the Simon Says Stamp Yay You release. I also designed the original box card die. So the die that we're going to be using here in a little bit to build our interactive cards, I actually designed that die, and then Christina Werner, she and I have worked together to make the inserts that are part of the basic box card collection. So it's a nice team effort, and I think the entire set is really cool. So I'm going to wrap up my coloring. I did a bit of Y coloring for the balloon. I used some orange markers for the shirt of the gnome. And then just like I did for the Let's Stick Together stamp set, I actually fussy cut these images out because there are no coordinating dies. These are pretty simple images to cut out though, so it was pretty easy. Alright, so here is that basic box card. You can buy the basic box card on its own and then choose whatever inserts you'd like to coordinate with your basic box card. I do think Simon does sell some of the inserts with the basic box card as a set. I don't know if all of them come together as a set option, but if you want to just pick up the basic box card and then pick and choose which sets you want to work with the basic box card, that will work too. So I'm going to go ahead and start by taking the basic box card body and then one of the little rectangles that comes with it. Those are a frame that allows you to cut in the opening for the basic box cards. So see here, this is what we have after die cutting. We need just one frame die cut into the body of the basic box card. So then we're going to cut another body to form the entire box. So we'll have 4 sides of the box, and one of them will have a frame cut out of it. So now we're going to end up with 2 panels, and they both have a tab on the end. On that tab, we're going to apply some red line tape. Now, you don't have to use red line tape, but I really like using red line tape because it's nice and strong. It's sturdy, so it's going to hold the box together really well. So you're going to cover both of those tabs with a line of adhesive. Then before we start assembling, I am going to work on my inserts. So I designed this grass die to coordinate with the basic box card, and I'm going to die cut this from white cardstock. We're going to do a bit of ink blending to color these in, and I think these look great for any scene that you're creating. So I'm going to use Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated Inks. I'm using Celery, and I'll also pull in some Perfection. This is for the base color of my grass. I'll add Perfection as the shading that's going to go along the bottom. I'm using a larger blending brush here because these are a good size, and I feel like this covers a lot more area very quickly. And I'll just fade out that Perfection for each of these grass pieces as we go up towards the top. So now that we have our grass completed, it's time to work on assembling everything into our basic box cards. So first, let's start by folding over one of the tabs on your body of the box card. Then you're also going to fold the middle fold of the box card, so that way we form 2 sides of the box. There are score lines that are created when you die cut this. And then I always like to take my bone folder and really crease those folds nicely so that way everything is crisp. I'm going to start by then laying one end of the box card into the tab that is created, and then the other tab is going to get adhered to the other end of the box. So you can see how quickly this comes together. I die cut a small piece of pattern paper to put on the inside of my basic box card, so that way when you're looking through the frame, you can see that pattern paper in the back. The inserts for all of the basic box card elements do have tabs on them, so for the grass, I'm going to fold the tabs over, and then I'll just use some red line tape to add adhesive on each of those tabs, and that will allow me to glue them inside of the box card. Red line tape at the 1/8 inch is perfect for this kind of project. I really like how strong it is, but like I said, you could use any adhesive you prefer. So I'm working on attaching the inserts inside of my box card. I like to lay them down and use the bottom edge, or if you're adhering towards the top edge of the box card as a guide for how straight these are. And then you just want to space them out to get the nice depth of spacing you'd like for your scene. You can insert as many as you'd like inside of the box cards. Here I'm using one of the older inserts. This is the basic box card Clouds. So you can see they work really nicely with the grass inserts. And so I'll have a total of 3 inserts inside of my box card. To adhere them to the other side of my box card, my favorite way to do this is to lay everything flat just like it would if it was going into an envelope, and then slowly press that into each element one at a time, starting with the one that's closest to the frame opening. So I'm just picking up each little insert one at a time, and as you can see, this is starting to form the entire box, and everything is adhered together. And by doing it this way, you also know that everything's going to lay perfectly flat. So here is our box card. I'm just going to close up that last end. And now, as you can see, everything is perfectly spaced. We have this great dimensional scene. And the best part is it folds flat, so everything will mail beautifully. So now I'm going to take all of my little characters. For this card, I'm using the GNOME images, and I'm just attaching these down with a little bit of dot runner on the back. You could also use red line tape or liquid glue. I did use a little bit of liquid glue towards the end of the project. Here I'm attaching my sentiment, which is from the GNOME stamp set, and along with the bird, on top of a piece of acetate that I just cut to the same width as the box card, and then just gave a little bit of room on each side to form some tabs, and that worked perfectly for gluing the sentiment in the middle of the card. Here I'm going to attach the balloon with a bit of liquid glue. I'm using Simon Says Stamp Craft Tacky, and I just put a few dots of adhesive along the side of the clouds, that way the balloon can settle right on top of it. Because we have all these different depths inside of this box card, everything looks dimensional and this looks like a lifelike scene. It is absolutely awesome. So here is the box card with the gnome. My last finishing touch was to add just a bit of stickles over top of the candle that the gnome has on the cupcake he's holding. So I'm just going to run a very thin coat around that candle just so that way it looks like it's glowing and sparkling. I really like how that adds a nice finishing touch. Now for the other box card, this one was put together in the exact same way. I just used different cardstock colors. So I also used the new stars insert. This one I actually die cut from white cardstock and then ink blended with blue and yellow inks. I have those ink colors linked below in the video description along with everything else that I used today. I only used one insert inside of this box card, and that was the stars, which was designed by Christina this time. I used a piece of patterned paper on the inside where you can see through from the frame looking in, and that nice bright pop of pink looks really cool against the gray and with the bright colors in front. This card is going to be used with the glue pals that we were coloring earlier. So that stick together image is super fun. It has a lot of different glue elements, and I think that's perfect for like school projects and cards for kids or teachers. So I'm just going to make a simple pop-up element here with some acetate. I'm going to fold this acetate into an L shape. I'll cut this down so it's not quite as long, and so this will fit nicely inside of my box card. I'll just use a piece of red line tape to attach this inside, and I'll put it right in front of the star panel. So once I have this laid in there, you can see how we have this nice little bar that's going to pop up here and hold our cute little glue pals. I'm going to trim them down so they have a nice flat edge here, and then just glue them right inside on top of that acetate. So now they pop up against those stars and the bright pink in the inside. And I just used a simple sentiment from the new Reverse Yay sentiment strips, part of the Yay You collection. So this simple card came together so easily, but as you can see, both this card and the gnome card are such a fun way to make some dimensional 3D cards that you can mail with no problem. So I hope you'll check out the box card collection. It's a really fun set of dies, and all the inserts make it a lot of fun to create some really custom cards. I hope you were inspired by today's project. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss any of my future videos. I will see you all again very soon, but until then, I hope you all have a fabulous day. Bye!